brothers,
sisters,
sons,
daughters,
and some of us are your grandchildren.
we are your community. Historically, we held places of honor and respect. Because of the impact of colonization, some of us are rejected, thrown out from family, friends, and community, set up as targets for sexual violence, sex trafficked, humiliated, tortured, and murdered. Everybody has the right to be safe. We are your relatives. Remember,
Homophobia is not traditional.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Tonight, clearing skies with a low of 29, then Friday, sunshine with a high of 39. There's something for everybody at Cafe Latte in St. Paul, from award-winning soup, salad, sandwiches, and desserts to treats from the bakery made fresh daily and a pizza and wine bar. Cafe Latte is located on the corner of Grand Avenue and Victoria Street. Check them out at cafelatte.com.
Portions of Native Roots Radio may be pre-recorded.
It's a good day to be indigenous.
Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Couldn't cut, hit me cut again.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake.
Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade. Hey, Kadagi to all my friends and relatives in four directions. You are listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot. Hey, we discuss local, national, Native news and events, and as you know, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues. Hey, we're going to have our friend Robert Lilligren on in just a little bit here, but I wanted to talk a little bit about what's going on at the Minneapolis American Indian Center on Friday and Saturday. And this Friday, March 27th, and Saturday, March 28th at 7 p.m. at the Minneapolis American Indian Center, a rotunda. That's 1530 East Franklin Avenue in Minneapolis. And this event is a play, and the play is called Saurusfield Works 2026 Native Joy Play Festival. And the players different plays. Like one of the plays is Friends by the great Marcy Rendon, who is just a great author, Native author out there, and people love her books. And obviously this is a play. And then the next one is Auntie is a Verb by Lee Cataluna, and that's another play. And Dance by Jessamine Rochelle Goodspeed, and Slow Your Roll by P.C. Vernon. And this is all directed by Ernest Briggs, and it features Jaleesa McKee, Roya Taylor, our friend Roya, and Nathaniel Two Bears, another Ho-Chunk. So we got Jaleesa McKee, my Hinu, which is means in Ho-Chunk my first daughter, and so she'll be in this. And Shanna Sakati, and again, it's March 27th at 7 p.m. and then also Saturday, March 28th at 7 p.m. at the Minneapolis American Indian Center. So please get out there and support Native arts, and it'd be great to see you out there. I'll try and make it out both days and check it out. A lot of other things happening at the Minneapolis American Center on May 1st from 4 to 9. Save the date, Minneapolis American Indian Center. They're having an open house, and it'll be the American Indian Month kickoff. So that's going to be happening real soon, and I'm going to put that on my calendar so I don't forget, because we believe here at Native Roots Radio every month is Native American History Month here. So also, too, we have a home buyers network at the 2026 Native First Time Home Buyer Workshop at Minneapolis American Indian Center, and that's April 4th, Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. So first-time buyer Homebuyer Workshop Network. And so there's other things that are going on. Go find out what's happening in Minneapolis at Minneapolis American Indian Center on Facebook and YouTube. Before I get too far into this, let's bring our friend on, Robert Lilligren. We haven't seen Robert in a week or so, and I miss you, Robert. Peeny Gigi, thank you so much for being on.
Yeah, bonjour, Robert. Yeah, thanks for having me. Sorry if I'm late. I think I misunderstood your earlier communication. So
No, I'm confusing because I thought I was going to have the theater people on the first segment, but they're practicing right now at the at the American Indian Center, so they were not able to make it on.
Okay, all right. Thanks.
So
again,
how do the kids say that? My bad. Oh, a lot going on, and geez, why don't we talk about first what's happening with a Native American Community Development Institute? I know there's a lot happening, and we got the art galleries opening again. So there's things that they're happening, and I was just talking about a few things that are happening on the avenue. Do you have that in front of you by any chance? What's happening with the art gallery?
yeah. So we have our first show since the federal occupation here. We'll be opening up on I'm sorry, I'm grabbing it here. I was a little unprepared, but
No, that's okay.
the artist name is Danielle Seawalker, and it's
Mhm.
Said So is the name of the show, and it is starting on April 10th. So it's coming up, and as some folks know, our gallery went dark during the ice surge here because our gallery was the headquarters for resources, the protectors, and things. And so we had to cancel a show and a lot of other activities. And so now we're coming back online. And this show is just incredible. This artist's work. If you go to the All My Relations Arts website or Facebook page, you can see a couple of examples. And so it's about aunties, right? And the role that aunties play. And yeah, it should be really exciting. And so that starts on April 10th. There'll be an opening reception. And then, as we do with all of our shows, there'll be multiple community engagement opportunities, artist talks, and things as well. So if you just check out the All My Relations Arts website, you can get more information.
Yeah, and I also see too that the Native American Community Development Institute, we were talking about the play that's going on March 27th and 28th, but 11 to 3, there's a spring artist market happening at the where is this happening? At All My Relations Arts? Yeah, it's happening there.
Right, yeah, so that's at our gallery, All My Relations Arts, in our little yellow building on Franklin and 15th. The address is 1414 East Franklin. And after as we reactivated the gallery and turned it back over from being a headquarters to being a gallery again, there was just a real strong feeling amongst NACDI staff and in the community that we do some community-focused things. Kind of healing is our theme. And one of the things was, for a lot of the people, the entrepreneurs, the artists, they lost their ability to market their stuff during the federal occupation here. And so this week we're having, on March 27th, 28th, a spring artist market, and it's going to be artists kind of writ large, but a lot of the community entrepreneurs, a lot of our friends from our Make Voting a Tradition project will participate, but Make Voting a Tradition and our All My Relations Arts are sponsoring it. So people can come by, they can grab something to drink or from Powwow Grounds Coffee Shop, support the coffee shop. There'll be door prizes, vendors. So it's at All My Relations Arts Gallery from 11 to 3 both days. And there'll be beading, sewing, vendors from Little Earth of United Tribes, in just a whole host of our Four Sisters Farmers Market vendors or other partners will be vending there. So I would stop on down, a good community event.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Little Earth, a beading and sewing, Standing Bear Designs,
Yeah.
Beautiful Cheapy, Sierra's Designs, Bedazzle Creations, Marcy Rendon selling her books, Hope, and she has other things too that to sell, and Hope Fletcher and Ojibwe Enterprise, and much, much more.
Yeah. Yep. So exciting. And a good use of our space, right? I mean, one of the things that we really understood through the federal occupation is the importance of that space and making sure that the community feels at home there.
Exactly. Hey, we are here with our friend Robert Lilligren, White Earth Ojibwe, and CEO and president of Native American Community Development Institute. We'll be right back after the short break. Please stay with us. Oh, support comes from the Walker Arts Center. Did you know that the Walker has a cinema that shows film almost every week? From artist talks, genre-defined performances, and world premieres to archival shorts and experimental soundscapes, the Walker Cinema explores all modes of global and local filmmaking. Get your first tickets for free. Visit walkerart.org/cinema to learn more. That's walkerart.org/cinema. See you at the movies.
This is Chase Iron Eyes announcing a new show on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota, powered by Native Roots Radio. The show is called Native American Patriot Talk Radio. What will we do on the show? We are going to explore and dive into the source of American constitutional sovereignty, the intersection of Native American and legal issues. Find us the first and third Tuesday of every month at 6 p.m. on AM 950.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
Oh, this is Robert Pilot. For Native relatives, healing is more than just sobriety. It's reclaiming Indigenous masculinity as a sacred, balanced force. Join Hunter Thundercloud for Native Roots Radio presents Controlled Fire. We explore how personal recovery uplifts our communities. It's time men step back into roles as mentors and spiritual leaders. Recovery is collective, and it starts with us. Tune in the first and third Wednesday of every month at 6 p.m. for Native Roots Radio presents Controlled Fire. Let's tend the fire together.
I'm Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan, and I want to be your next United States Senator, and you are listening to Native Roots Radio.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot. Hey, welcome back, everyone. This is Robert Pilot, and this is Native Roots Radio, and we're with our friend Robert Lilligren. He is the CEO and president of Native American Community Development Institute. And our friend Robert, when I feel sorry for you because I change gears all over the place with the questions, and I'm over here, and you're struggling for information because of my ADHD. So I just got to personally say I apologize here on the air. So all our listeners can hear that.
No apology necessary. Thanks, Robert. And I'm flexible. I'm nothing if not flexible, able to pivot. So
yeah. Well, let's pivot real quick, and then we can revisit too about more of the things that Native American Community Development Institute do. But the date, the 28th, keeps on popping up, and your sister, Peggy Flanagan, is going to be speaking at the Capitol. Bruce Springsteen's going to be there. Uncle Bernie Sanders is going to be there. And also Joan Baez. Was that?
Yep. Yep. The boss is going to be there. And it's really shaping up to be one of the, if not the sort of flagship No Kings rallies nationally. There's tons of them happening, right? They're happening everywhere, but the one at our St. Paul Capitol here is really shaping up to be the biggie. I'm guessing it's going to be close to at least 100,000 people that
Mhm.
show up. I'm going. Are you going, Robert? Are you going to be
Absolutely. I'm gonna go early, and don't tell anybody, but I'm gonna go early with my press pass and try
there?
and get closer and maybe, name drop Robert Lilligren.
Oh yeah, that's not going to get you very far, but you're good at that infiltration stuff. So I have all confidence that you're going to get
And T-shirts.
right
T-shirts
at
and,
t-shirts. Yeah, those are your strengths, and so yeah, you'll probably get up there. Let me know who you get to meet and stuff. But it's just a strong acknowledgement of the incredible work that people here in Minnesota did and in the Twin Cities during this federal occupation, and how we stayed peaceful in our resistance, and we should be proud of this, right? And the whole world is watching us, and people in other native communities across the country, but in cities in general across the country, especially blue cities or cities in blue states where they expect an occupation like this one. And so they're trying to learn, okay, what do we do? How did you do this? And I'll tell you, Robert, I've been saying this a lot. I just had an opportunity this week to address um, a bunch of the commissioners, the heads of state agencies, at what we call our Minnesota Interagency Council on Homelessness. And these about a dozen of the state commissioners and our Lieutenant Governor, Peggy Flanagan, who chairs this effort, wanted to hear more about what happened in the community, what the response was in the Native community, how we supported our relatives living unhoused. And so I had just a few minutes on their agenda, but I was able to really lift this up what the Native community did. And I'll tell you this, Robert, and I've been saying this a lot in public, and I really feel that the Native community's approach that was peaceful, prayerful, people-based, community-based really set the tone in a lot of ways and really contributed to the overall peaceful response to the federal occupation. And I look back to the time after George Floyd was murdered here, and parts of our city became very hot with a lot of demonstrations. I mean, hot literally, buildings were being burned and things. And right there on the American Indian Cultural Corridor on Franklin Avenue, we came together as a community and decided to use these Native values, our peaceful, prayerful approach. We didn't board up our buildings like a lot of parts of the city did. Rather, we organized our protectors. So we had people from here at Little Earth of United Tribes and people from the community here. Lots of people came into town from the reservations. I think we had over 500 volunteers that participated in the protector movement during the George Floyd uprisings. And we protected our community. We protected our Native relatives, our non-Native relatives, our Native assets, our non-Native assets, and the full extent of damage along East Franklin Avenue or the American Indian Cultural Corridor was one broken window in a storefront. And this is while East Lake Street, which is less than a mile away in a very similar sort of community, was burning, right? And so to me, that really showed, okay, if we really value and express our Native ways, we can actually protect people. And know that we've just gone through this region, Twin Cities region-wide occupation that kind of showed the same thing. And I think Native people should really embrace our role and really talk about it, and yeah, it was not easy. It was very grim here. It still is kind of grim, but it's getting better. But we did it.
Yeah, and it just goes to show too all the things that have happened. And I'm a big Bruce Springsteen fan, and we got tickets to the concert, and really a big Bruce Springsteen fan, especially what he did with the First Avenue concert and coming here and then making a song about how strong Minneapolis is. And it's funny, I had Vinny Dion on yesterday.
Yeah, I saw that.
And what's great is that, what you were talking about, I really feel like everybody's kind of learned from Standing Rock to George Floyd about how to do this. And really, really excited by, our white allies showing up in a big way, and because we're used to like protesting and looking behind us, going, "Where's everybody else?" And
Right,
now,
right.
so it's awesome that the Twin Cities has really picked it up.
I agree. And in this presentation to these state commissioners yesterday, there was this whole body, the Minnesota Interagency Council on Homelessness, and one of the really effective things that the MITCH, it's called Minnesota Interagency Council on Homelessness, and they employ lived experience consultants, people who have experienced homelessness or are experiencing it, to consult on the work. And I will tell you, their voices really impact what's going on here. And so they, after I gave my little presentation to the commissioners, then they asked if any of the consultants wanted to add anything, and just about every one of them did. Several of them are Native or Indigenous people, and they said the exact same thing you just did, just how impressive and empowering it was to see so many non-Native allies, white allies, stepping up and stepping out with the community. And that was different. It felt like we were one community for a bit there. And it's actually, I think that is still, it still feels that way.
Yeah, Wendy's in New York, and she's going to go into the city for their rallies. And now I wish I was in both places, because that sounds really exciting too.
It does. It does all. Yeah. And I really think that the No Kings rally here is going to kind of lift up the whole country. I mean, it's going to be big all over, but yeah. And then I didn't hear the show. I saw that Benny Dion was on, and folks who aren't here don't know, he and his wife Rachel Dion Thunder are founders of the Indigenous Protector Movement. It's kind of AIM 2.0, 21st Century AIM. They work very closely with American Indian Movement here, but it's a culture, Native ways based, sobriety based, physical, spiritual health initiative. And some of their programs are the Many Shield Society, which is a men's society, Women's Warrior Society. They were at the hub of organizing the resistance here to the ICE surge. And they appeared with the governor yesterday, our Governor Waltz, right? Was it yesterday or day before?
Yeah, yesterday.
Yesterday. And our Governor, Tim Waltz, is founding a body to kind of document what happened here, the federal occupation. And so, yeah, it's great to see Vinny and Rachel there, right in the thick of it.
Yeah, there was an organization too that gave the Twin Cities an award. I can't think of it. It was last week. Do you remember who that was? That the Peace Prize, the John F. Kennedy
Peace Prize, right? Yep. So, yeah.
I hope people like Benny and Rachel are invited to Washington because of their work, and more. I don't know who they're going to invite to pick up that award, but it'll be interesting to see.
Sure. So it's the Profile and Courage Award is what it's called.
Yeah.
So, and it's given to the people of Minneapolis, right, for what we did. And it is a big deal. And yeah, I don't know what the logistics are and things. I think it's, so in 2026, it'll be given to Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell, and then also the people of the Twin Cities, for our defensive immigrant communities. I mean, that's a big deal. I mean, that's the establishment, right? Recognizing what we did here. And then when you have the Trump administration and his supporters trying to paint us as a bunch of wacky radicals or whatever, not that we need affirmation from these establishment organizations like the JFK Courage Award, but it helps. It shows we're not wacky. We're just doing what we need to do.
Exactly, and getting credit for it. Hey, we're here with Robert Lilligren, White Earth Ojibwe a member, and also president and CEO of Native American Community Development. We'll be right back after the short break. Please stay with us. Support comes from the Walker Arts Center. Local artist Rosie Simas, Seneca Nation of Indians, Huron Clan, embodies Onondaga philosophies of peacemaking and relationality in new immersive installation. Visit Age Jagwa Desnigowaweni. I hope it'll stir your mind and explore a space built for communal rest and contemplation. Simas presents a performance of the same name this May. Learn more about the exhibition and performance at walkerart.org. Aho, this is Robert Pilot. For Native relatives, healing is more than just sobriety. It's reclaiming Indigenous masculinity as a sacred, balanced force. Join Hunter Thundercloud for Native Roots Radio presents Controlled Fire. We explore how personal recovery uplifts our communities. It's time men step back into roles as mentors and spiritual leaders. Recovery is collective, and it starts with us. Tune in the first and third Wednesday of every month at 6 p.m. for Native Roots Radio presents Controlled Fire. Let's tend the fire together. Support comes from the Walker Arts Center, an art space that's more than the spoon and cherry. Galleries celebrate contemporary visual art, including Indigenous artists like Edgar Heap of Birds from the Cheyenne and Arapaho nations, and Jim Demeny from the Ojibwe Nation. Additionally, film screens, cinema, and performances are shown on stage. And the Walker is free every Thursday night and free every day for citizens and members of tribal nations. Learn more at walkerart.org. I heard sex trafficking happens a lot in Indian country. What is that?
Here are some of the real reasons why sex trafficking happens in Indian country. Unequal gender roles that were forced on us by colonization. Communities don't have enough resources. Silence around domestic and sexual violence. Lack of attention and justice for missing and murdered Indigenous people. There's a lot of behavior that keeps our communities out of balance. These are just a few true reasons why Native communities are targeted by traffickers. When these acts of violence happen in our communities, it opens us all up for exploitation.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
Aho, this is Robert Pilot. For Native relatives, healing is more than just sobriety. It's reclaiming Indigenous masculinity as a sacred, balanced force. Join Hunter Thundercloud for Native Roots Radio presents Controlled Fire. We explore how personal recovery uplifts our communities. It's time men step back into roles as mentors and spiritual leaders. Recovery is collective, and it starts with us. Tune in the first and third Wednesday of every month at 6 p.m. for Native Roots Radio presents Controlled Fire. Let's tend the fire together. Support comes from the Walker Arts Center. Did you know that the Walker has a cinema that shows film almost every week? From artist talks, genre-defined performances, and world premieres to archival shorts and experimental soundscapes, the Walker Cinema explores all modes of global and local filmmaking. Get your first tickets for free. Visit walkerart.org/cinema to learn more. That's walkerart.org/cinema. See you at the movies.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Tonight, clearing skies with a low of 29, then Friday, sunshine with a high of 39. There's something for everybody at Cafe Latte in St. Paul, from award-winning soup, salad, sandwiches, and desserts to treats from the bakery made fresh daily and a pizza and wine bar. Cafe Latte is located on the corner of Grand Avenue and Victoria Street. Check them out at cafelatte.com.
AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
You're listening to Native Roots Radio. I'm Bobby Wilson. Witcha.
Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade. Hey, Kadagi to all my friends and relatives out there. We are here with Robert Lilligren, CEO and president of Native American Community Development Institute here in the Twin Cities, Minneapolis. And we were just kind of talking about, how the Twin Cities is set up and stepped up and how the whole world is looking at it. And we're going to get a free concert along with great speakers like our friend, Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan.
Yeah, my whiter sister, Peggy Flanagan. Got to see her over the weekend. Actually, I've seen her a couple times. Got to see her this week But yeah, and just big names. Bruce Springsteen, as he pointed out. Isn't Jane Fonda is coming? Joan
Yeah.
Baez. Yeah, and I think that says something about what we've been able to do here. And we've been through some hard times, right, Robert? Here we had the murder of George Floyd, and that kind of blew up the city and brought us international attention, and not really in the best way. And then we became ground zero for Trump, kind of flexing his muscle of his goon squad and always turning, a legitimate law enforcement agency, or a couple of them, kind of against our own people. And then always deployed ICE agents to the airports. Again, I think it's just to normalize this sort of surveillance culture. And, it feels very stormtrooper, secret police is how it feels here. And we're responding in a good way.
Yeah, well, it's been a bummer too because even back up a couple months, we had the school shooting, and then Melissa Hortman, and all those things that have really worn on our soul for a long time. So it's time to celebrate at the Capitol.
Time to celebrate at the Capitol and to be in support with each other, right? And be in community with each other, and with this political violence here. And we became a horrific school shooting community, and there's a lot of ways we could respond as neighbors, and that fact that we're responding with care for each other. As you pointed out, how allies stepped in, white allies especially. I was just talking to one of my board members today. We had lunch. A brilliant community development mind. Mike Tamale is his name. He's the founder of the Neighborhood Development Center, and he and kind of just talking about what this experience has been here, and how kind of influential we can be. So so it's kind of our time, and how I've had the opportunity to meet with organizational leadership from urban Indian country across the nation, and with Congress people. They're all asking, how did you do this? They want to be really practical, logistical, because they all fully expect this to happen in their communities.
Yeah, an amazing thing too, that they try to mess with Minnesotans during below zero weather, and they didn't realize that that's kind of our jam at times. Not mine because I'm old, but in the day it was.
Right. I mean, lots of plays on the word ice, right, for sure. But I'm sure many of us saw the videos of ICE agents, running and then slipping and falling on the ice. I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh. That's mean. But it's like, come on, everyone in Minnesota knows you don't run on glare ice. You walk like a penguin. You waddle,
And even penguins fall in those documentaries.
And the shoes they were wearing were so inappropriate. The vehicles, they were getting stuck in the snow and on the ice all over. I mean, it was interesting. I was reading some media just this afternoon, and it was talking about this, how Trump is transforming these federal law enforcement into his own kind of personal goon squad, and that's not good for anybody. But I remember this article said, it's not that way yet, but it's getting there. And it's like, hey, if you live in the Twin Cities, if you live in Minnesota, it is that way already. You have law enforcement walking through neighborhoods with flashlights, shining them in people's windows, looking for people, sending children to lure their parents out of the home, disrupting. So it is that way. It's not just becoming that way. We do have these almost like stormtrooper type police that have run amok in our city. And now it's calming down. We're getting back to the numbers we need. Our airport here, our international airport, does not have ICE agents deployed.
Oh, good.
Yeah, because things are still running smoothly. So there isn't any real reason to, so yeah. So there's some secret sauce. There's something in the water here that people can learn from.
We talk about this, and I complain about this to you all the time, and that's the way the mainstream media is really normalizes. You really listen to what they have to say. It's just amazing. And they interview people that say Congress should get their poop in a group, and they don't understand the whole process. They don't understand that the orange one's telling them not to do this until we take away half the country's voting rights.
Right, right. I mean, I think that is so interesting. And I wonder, I mean, we've seen things come out of the Capitol, where Senate Republicans have a plan where they can carve out the ICE budget and move forward the whole DHS budget, which would mean TSA would be funded at the airports, and the president just rejects it until he takes away our voting rights, like you just said. And so until, what do they call it, the SAFE Act or something, passes. And it's like, that's not how we legislate. Now, I just read right before coming on the air here that Trump is talking about declaring a state of emergency to free up funds to pay TSA. And it's like, that's not how you govern. That's not governing. That's promoting a fascist state, right?
Yeah. Well, we're in a war that he doesn't know how to get out of, that just because of the Epstein. And I like Jimmy Kimmel. He's trademarked the Trump Epstein files, and they always pop up the trademark look. And I like to talk about that because the desperateness, and then just the 100% lying that they all do just to their base, and their base is shrinking.
Their base is shrinking. There's this base they have that thinks it's okay to lie if it helps us, right? Their side. And it's like, yeah, no, it's all, you can't have it in bits, right? And I expect our elected officials, especially our president, to tell the truth. And so this fact that it's so normalized that you really can't believe anything that comes out of his mouth or his cabinet's mouth anymore. And it makes it hard to live in this country. When it's like, is this true? Is this real? What's real? And so, again, the more local, I mean, I just feel so fortunate to live in a state where we have these attitudes of caring for each other. Oh, when I was talking to my board member today, he, in his community, lives in St. Paul. He was involved in several different food delivery kinds of initiatives. And this was going on all over the region because a lot of our neighbors didn't feel safe leaving. If the immigrant communities, they wouldn't even leave their homes. They couldn't work. They couldn't open their businesses. Their kids couldn't go to school. And so they were, literally being held hostage in their homes. And so there's this very great network of people that were keeping our relatives, our neighbors fed, keeping supplies, keeping maybe school supplies coming to them. But it had to be kind of quiet, right? And we learned you couldn't put anything in any kind of electronic format, like in an email or a text, because that could be hacked. And that was likely being monitored by artificial intelligence, ICE's artificial intelligence. So it had to be very analog, right? You're delivering to people who do not want to be found. So the last thing you wanted to do, was bring an electronic trail to their homes. So people had to leave their phones off or leave their phones behind. And we did it. Thousands. I will never know. We'll never know the scope of what was done here.
There's a big push of going to non-smartphones too now. And I don't blame them. It's interesting too. I know personally as some teachers at the schools that they were working on were doing the exact same thing, but like you said, undercover, because they were taking care of their kids and their families just because of that reason you were talking about.
Right. And then, so in our gallery, All My Relations Arts and Powell Grounds Coffee Shop, you were there a lot. It was really this hub of activity, and it felt so good with all of the protectors and observers and just the whole community stepping in to keep this operation going. But in our gallery, we had three sort of like ring cameras, Wi-Fi type cameras, and we learned that those were hackable, right? And that one of the reasons, I've heard a couple people say, one of the reasons we didn't get ICE right in our property was because they were watching everything we did. Right?
Wow.
And
Wow.
we are right now, we've since changed those out for hardwired cameras, so they're not as easy to hack. But yeah, technology and artificial intelligence played a huge role in the surveillance here.
Well, you remember Standing Rock? You could only go up on the hill. And it was called Facebook Mountain. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah. Well, one place you can actually get service. Yep.
And the reason why is because they were blocking the service out of Standing Rock. I mean, they were literally, it came out after Standing Rock that they had these machines and they were doing that. And to me, that's the beginning of all this coverted stuff that's happening and with the technology and everything.
It was the beginning of that, and it was, for me, the beginning of how we go to our past to go forward, right? The 7 council fires, the Chekisequoian, that were moving the Standing Rock forward. That was a council that hadn't been convened for 150 years.
Right.
Battle of Greasy Grass, which they prevailed. And so, Custer's Last Stand, as some people would know it. But so that was kind of a starting point for me as well. And, we learned early here in the ICE surge that this is a tracking device, right? Your smartphone. And so they're tracking you. And if they identified you in a cluster of other people, they were monitoring that they could apprehend you. And that's happened. Now that's coming out in the mainstream media, that some of the people who were arrested were just in the area with their phones.
Yeah. Wow. Robert, thanks again for being on. Always great chatting with you and catching up.
Always a pleasure. Miigwech, Gigalabanin.
I'll see you on the protest line or the celebration line.
Yeah, tomorrow, Saturday.
I'll text you and tell you where I am. If I got a good seat, I'll get you up there. Ho! Hey, this is Native Roots Radio. We'll be right back after the short break. Please stay with us. Ho! Support comes from the Walker Arts Center, an art space that's more than the spoon and cherry. Galleries celebrate contemporary visual art, including indigenous artists like Edgar Heap of Birds from the Cheyenne and Arapaho nations, and Jim Deminy from the Ojibwe Nation. Additionally, film screens, cinema, and performances are shown on stage. And the Walker is free every Thursday night and free every day for citizens and members of tribal nations. Learn more at walkerart.org.
When we heal from our traumas,
When we face our fears,
let go of our addictions,
when we relearn our values,
when we live our teachings,
respecting our elders,
cherishing and honoring our children,
when we honor and take care of our spirit,
there will be no room left for sexual violence.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
Support comes from the Walker Arts Center. Did you know that the Walker has a cinema that shows film almost every week? From artist talks, genre-defined performances, and world premieres to archival shorts and experimental soundscapes, the Walker Cinema explores all modes of global and local filmmaking. Get your first tickets for free. Visit walkerart.org/cinema to learn more. That's walkerart.org/cinema. See you at the movies.
Hi, it's Dr. Evan Adams, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio. Hey, Victor, you better be listening.
In this portion of the show, we'd like to bring awareness to our wolf and bear populations throughout Turtle Island. Say no to the hunts.
Hey, welcome back. This is Native Roots Radio, and we have a friend on the line here. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Hey, please introduce yourself. There's some important things I talked about the first segment that's happening at the Minneapolis American Indian Center in the next 2 days. Can you talk about that and introduce yourself, please?
Yeah, and thank you for having me. Lilligren Chaniavu. My name is Sam Oros Mitchell. I'm Yaqui Indian, enrolled in the Texas Band of Yaqui Indians, and I've lived here in Minnesota for 6 years. I have a production company called Saros Fieldworks, and we are bringing the Native Joy Play Festival 2026 to the American Indian Center this Friday and Saturday at 7 p.m. And we're going to be doing 4 plays, all written by Native playwrights, and not to mention our own local Marcy Rendon. We have a play from a playwright from Hawaii, a playwright from Boston, a playwright from Connecticut, I believe it is, and a playwright from Minneapolis.
So,
and, yeah.
So does the actors have to have a Boston accent during the Boston play?
No, because it's kind of, the plays are universal in the theme of Native Joy.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why we're doing this particular theme is that I feel like I wanted to bring something to the community that wasn't necessarily about trauma. And so I expressively had a call for submissions for plays that were themed, that had a theme of joy. And I think that that's a really important distinction to bring to this festival. So it's a good time. It doesn't mean that there are scenes that are touching or, emotional, but I really wanted to stay away from emotional trauma. I feel like our Native people have enough of that living every day.
Yeah.
So,
I agree. So it's Friday, March 27th, 7 p.m., and then Saturday, March 28th at 7 p.m. I have a couple people that matter of fact, I know 3 of the actors for sure. One of them is my Oweha, Jaleesa McKee, and then I see Nathan Two Bears, who's also a Ho-Chunk like me, and then Roya Taylor. Exciting to all those guys have been on the show before, and I'm excited to go see what they're up to. So that's just awesome. So is there a price for admission?
No, this is all made possible through the Minneapolis City Arts and Cultural Affairs grant. So the event is free, but we are asking that people get their tickets through Eventbrite. And the way that they can do that is just go to my website, www.sarosfieldworks, SAROS, Fieldworks, all one word. And then you'll see the 2026 Native Play Festival. You just follow that link, and then you can just sign up for as many tickets as you want. I also want to let people know that we are getting catering from Ono Place on Saturday night. So there'll be a meal provided after the play.
Oh, wow.
And this is all free. Yes. This is part of the proposal that I wrote up and was really excited. Ernest and I, with a little help from Marcy, actually, we all worked together and wrote up this grant last year. And so we originally we were going to do it in, I believe it was beginning of February, but because of all the things that were going on in Minneapolis, we decided to push it back just for the safety of our folks, our people,
Yeah, definitely. So. Tell us a little bit about yourself. I got a couple more minutes here.
Yeah.
And I know you're busy right now, and this is the final countdown. People still learning their lines and stealing lines and, the theater. I love the theater.
Yeah, so it's been really great. I've worked with Ernest Briggs before. Ernest and I met at the Guthrie Theater. I was one of the first Native directing fellows, and that was in 2021. Ernest and I met, and we've been in touch. I've taken some acting classes with Ernest. We also have Thomas. I'm probably going to mispronounce his. I'm just going to say Thomas D. Everyone knows who Thomas is. Wonderful artist. He's not actually acting in this. He's working in the capacity as stage manager. He jumped in at the last minute. But yeah, I got my PhD in theater and dance from UC San Diego in 2021, and I moved out here. And I'm primarily a dancer, but I started thinking about ways to forward what I call Native excellence. And so I try to do that in all my endeavors in terms of, finding ways of sharing my love of dance with Native folks and my love of theater. I also put on, with my production company, Staros Fieldworks, the Northeast Experimental Festival. That was in November. And that was made possible through the Minnesota State Arts Board grant. So I found a really happy place here in Minnesota, in Minneapolis, and connected to both the Native community and the dance and theater community. So I'm just trying to find ways of, forwarding that Native excellence. And so that's what this is all about.
Well, that's awesome. And we love to amplify things like that. So whenever you have anything going on, please reach out to me now that you know who I am, and we'll meet in person because we're all about promoting good things. And can you give any kind of synopsis here? We got like 2 minutes left.
Sure.
On what's the Friends play about by Marcy?
Oh, that's a really funny play. So we're ending with that one. And it's about a mother, a grandmother, and a granddaughter. And I don't want to give too much away about it, but it's pretty funny. It has to do with some unwelcome guests and how to deal with them. And what else?
We got Auntie is a Verb is the next one.
Yeah, Auntie is a Verb is the Hawaiian play. That's what inspired me to get the Ono plates to cater. So that has Roya and Jalisa in it, and really thinking about Auntie as a state of action, as a way of moving through the world, and kind of enforcing Auntie as the enforcer, but with love.
Yeah. And then dance, I guess that kind of speaks for itself, or is it about
dance?
Dance?
It's really great. It's a play about two friends who happen upon someone who they don't really know, and they're at a powwow. And then, she's like going to summer school, and they're like, hey, why aren't you dancing? What are you doing working at a powwow? And she's like, I want to better myself. And they're like, you can do that, but you can still dance. And so it's kind of a joyous celebration of dance and,
yeah.
Staying connected to your culture because, yes, it's important. Coming from even, from my perspective, graduate school is important, college is important, but you got to stay connected to your roots too. You got to stay connected to your community.
Well, last one here, Slow Your Roll. I like that one.
Oh man, that one always gets me. I can't really explain why, but it just there's something that's very touching about it. It's about two sisters, and they're getting ready to go to they're attending a Catholic school, and they're moving, and they're going to go to a public school. So they're talking. The older sister's talking to the younger sister about how it's going to be different, and they don't have to worry about the the nuns kind of hitting them with the rulers. And so that does have I guess in some ways that does have a little bit of trauma, but it's funny. It's not like boarding school, like residential school. Like we're not really going there per se, but.
Hey,
that's a funny one.
I'll see you tomorrow, March 27th, 7 p.m. Friday, at the American Indian Center in Minneapolis, and then also again on Saturday, March 28th at 7 p.m. It's all free. They got a meal. Really appreciate you dropping in for this last minute here, and I will meet you tomorrow. Oh, wow.
Yeah. Well, we met at Sandy Whitehawk's coming home ceremony. I think we met a few times, but I'm really happy to be on your show, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow and Saturday.
Okay, we'll do it again. Pinigigi for being on. Hey, this is Native Roots Radio, and we'll see you tomorrow. Oh.